All right, let's dive right into this explainer. If you've ever felt like you're just slapping band-aids on the exact same reoccurring issues day after day, well, you're definitely not alone. Welcome. Today, we're cutting through the sheer chaos of complex problems using a structured, foolproof method. It is time to stop guessing, stop reacting, and actually start solving. Here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. The chaos of complex problems. 2. Meet the ideal method. 3. Phase 1, identify and define. 4. Phase 2, explore root causes. 5. Phase 3, act and learn. And 6. Mastering your complex problems.
Section 1, the chaos of complex problems. Look, we absolutely know the feeling of being completely overwhelmed by multi-layered issues, right? Whether we're trying to navigate our personal lives or literally putting out fires at work, it always feels like the exact second you put out one fire, 3 more immediately flare up to take its place.
So, take a second and really think about this. Why do our solutions so often fail? Why does the whole traditional trial and error approach usually leave us frustrated, totally exhausted, and right back at square one? Well, usually, it's because we're just incredibly biased toward action. We jump straight to fixing things before we even know what we're actually fighting. Albert Einstein famously said that if he had an hour to save the world, he'd spend 55 minutes to finding the problem and just 5 minutes thinking about solutions. I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive, right? Action feels like progress. We want to get our hands dirty right away. But honestly, our biggest, most expensive mistake is rushing to conclusions. When we skip the definition phase, we just end up spending all our energy trying to solve the wrong things very efficiently. Section 2. Meet the ideal method. We need a system that forces us completely out of emotional guesswork and into structured, data-driven thinking. Enter the ideal problem-solving method. For tackling complex issues methodically, this acronym provides a step-by-step structure. It forces you to identify the problem, define the outcome, explore solutions, act on the best one, and then look back and learn from the results. This hybrid system is what prevents us from skipping ahead to that 5 minutes of solutions before doing the 55 minutes of foundational work. It grounds us. To truly grasp how powerful this framework is, we're going to ditch the theory and apply it to a concrete case study. Imagine a struggling warehouse dealing with absolute delivery chaos. We're talking boxes piled to the ceiling, angry customer phone calls ringing off the hook, just total gridlock. We're going to fix their problem together using the ideal method. Section 3, Phase 1, identify and define. We kick things off by splitting the chaos into 2 very distinct buckets. What's happening right now, and what we actually want to happen, the I and the D of our framework. On one hand, we have to identify the current reality. The warehouse is basically drowning in customer complaints about late deliveries, both before and after shipping. Okay, so that's the painful baseline. But the desired outcome isn't just some vague promise to do better or try harder. No way. It has to be defined with rigorous, measurable goals. We want a 90% reduction in complaints. We want orders leaving within 24 hours. We want a 95% on-time delivery rate. Identifying the pain is the easy part. Defining the exact metric for success is what actually sets you up to win. Section 4, Phase 2, explore root causes. This is the E in our acronym. And it's where we finally stop treating the symptoms and start hunting for the actual disease. To explore effectively, the ideal method relies heavily on something called the 5 whys method. It's elegantly simple, honestly. You uncover the true root cause of an issue by just repeatedly asking why. It works exactly like opening those Russian nesting dolls. Usually, our very first answer is just a superficial excuse. You have to keep drilling down through those layers of symptoms until the solid, hidden core of the problem is exposed. Let's see how this interrogation builds for our warehouse. Why are shipments late? Because orders take too long to leave the floor. Okay, why does packing take so long? Well, because there isn't enough staff during peak hours. Interesting. Why is staffing inadequate? Because shift schedules don't match the actual order volume. Notice how quickly we moved past the vague symptom of a late shipment and arrived at a concrete mismatch in human resources. If we had stopped at the first why, we probably would have just yelled at the packers to work faster, which literally solves nothing.
But we keep digging. Why do the schedules not match the order volume? Because there's no demand-based scheduling in place. And finally, why is there no demand-based scheduling? Because the warehouse simply lacks a real-time tracking system. Boom! We just hit the absolute root cause. The issue wasn't lazy packers or bad drivers, it was a fundamental blind spot in their software.
Section 5, Phase 3, Act and Learn. We've got our root cause. Now we move to the final two letters of our acronym, A and L. This is where we act on our solution and rigorously test the results. The action phase isn't some blind leap of faith. It's a calculated experiment. The warehouse acts by introducing a 1-month trial of a real-time tracking system, adjusting staff schedules based on that new data. But we don't just act and walk away, assuming we're geniuses who fix the whole shebang on the first try. We look back and learn. We check the fresh data against our original defined goals. Did processing time actually decrease? And more importantly, did those customer complaints actually drop by that specific 90% target we set? The most crucial thing to grasp here is that this learning phase is a continuous loop. If the data shows the complaints haven't dropped, you don't panic, and you definitely don't start pointing fingers. You just dive right back into the 5 whys with this new information and refine your solution. But if the data validates your experiment, you expand the success and roll out the tracking system permanently. It totally removes the fear of failure because every single outcome is just fresh data for your next step. Section 6, Mastering Your Complex Problems. So, we've solved a massive logistics issue, but how does this apply to the rest of our lives? The ideal method, paired up with the 5 whys, is basically the ultimate Swiss Army knife for progress. It provides a structured, logical process that absolutely guarantees you're solving real root issues, not just chasing frustrating symptoms. It replaces all that frantic, emotional guesswork with calm, concrete data. Whether you're trying to fix a broken corporate workflow or, simply trying to figure out why you keep hitting snooze and failing your morning workout routine, this framework forces methodical action over rushed emotions. Which brings us to the end of our explainer and leaves you with one final, pretty provocative question. What complex problem will you conquer today? You have the framework now. You know exactly how to identify, define, explore, act, and learn. Take this method, step right out of the chaos, and start solving. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.